I told
Okay.
myself, get married. Even
Okay.
if it will last for a year or two, at least you got married. So I didn't really hope that it would
Yeah.
last.
Yeah.
I got into marriage, we got married. A year later, I don't even think of going to the hospital or anything.
Okay.
And one day, his
Okay.
brother, younger brother, has a kid. And
Okay.
I could see baby fever in his eyes. And then
Mm.
it hit me, Ivy. It is now over. It is over.
Yeah.
Like you're counting your days in this marriage.
Yeah.
So I sat down and decided, you know what? I get paid on Saturday. What I'll
Okay.
do, I'll book a clinic on Monday. And then I'll go pick up from where I left 5 years ago
Okay.
and see if did my ovaries rot, did they
Okay.
burst, what happened. And on a Wednesday, I went home to their parents. And then coming back, I was like, it's late. What do I cook? And going
Mm-hmm.
to the shop to get something to cook, I felt so sick. I
Really?
was
Okay.
very sick.
Mhm.
So I went back home and laid and told him after work that I don't feel good. I didn't cook. I just feel funny. The
Mhm.
following day, we went to the hospital, and they treated me bacteria. They told me you have bacteria because I told them I couldn't. The first thing they thought I was pregnant.
Okay.
I told them I have polycystic ovarian disease, so I cannot get kids. So I cannot get pregnant, so I'm not pregnant. So they told me if it's not that, then you have bacteria.
Okay.
Gave me the kids, came back home, a week of medication, nothing is happening. It's getting worse, worse. I go back and they ask me, we want to test if you're pregnant. And I tell them, I cannot get pregnant. I told you. And they're like, we insist.
Okay.
So before I went, I started bleeding.
Mm.
So it was like an emergency. So they told me, no, we have to test. And they tested. And it came out positive. I told them, test again. Positive. I told, test again. They said it's positive. And they told me, you know what? Now, because it says you're pregnant and you're bleeding, and we gave you drugs that could potentially abort.
Oh.
Yeah. So go get a scan so that we can see the nature of the pregnancy. I don't believe them. But my husband does, my mother in law does. So we go. And going there, I'm laying in the bed and I didn't even notice like there were two babies. I just saw one. And then I came out, I was given the results. I didn't read them. Mother in law told me, you know what, let's read them here before we take them to the doctor.
Okay.
And there was twin A, twin B. They were surprised, they were happy. I was
Wow.
not. I had no feelings at that time because I was not sure if this is
Yeah.
true. Because
Mm-hmm.
one, I can never get kids. Two, now I have twins. It didn't add up at the moment. So I
I
was
get.
not
I get.
excited.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back to the hospital, and now I had twins. They told me now because this medication could have tampered with the pregnancy, you're on bed rest. And I was okay with that. Excitement kicked in when they started kicking. That was when I
Okay.
believed I was pregnant.
No, I believe it. Wow, what an incredible when they started kicking, not her or not her, but when they both started kicking.
Yeah, when they
Yeah.
started kicking, that was when I was like, it's this side, I am pregnant, honestly. So even when my stomach would grow, I would think I'm bloating.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's
so
incredible.
now they are four.
Hmm.
Now
No,
they
well,
are 4 years old. Yeah.
well, congrats on that. Congrats on what an incredible story. It
Mm,
seems as if things happen for a reason. You
for a
chose not to
reason.
get the surgery, and then I think you said 4 or 5 years later, you meet
Yeah.
some. You 4 or 5 years later, and you were supposed to get the surgery in 3 months. 4 or 5 years later, you meet someone, you meet a gentleman that's taking you seriously and who wants kids, and then you're not outside of one kid, you're blessed with another kid at the same time. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, he was right. He was right. God did have a plan. Now,
Yeah.
this guy, excuse me, your husband, right? Let me not. Is your husband or your boyfriend or
My husband. We
your
did get
husband?
married. Yeah.
Okay, so your husband, is he also Kenyan?
He is Kenyan.
Okay, and then is he living in? And excuse me, I'm sure he's living in Nairobi, but did he also grow up in Nairobi, or did he grow up in a different village?
No, he grew up in a different county also called Embu.
Embu. Now, do they speak a
Yeah.
different language?
Yes, they
Okay.
have a different local language, Ambian, but it is within the same. Okay, I would, as a Kikuyu, I can hear them communicate. Like the
Yes.
difference is so little between my language and his language.
Okay. But you communicate in his language, and can he communicate in your language? No.
He tries to communicate in my language, but I cannot communicate in his language. But the
Okay.
difference is the vowels, like sometimes. So in our language, we have a H. In their
Okay.
language, they use V
Okay.
instead of H.
Yeah.
So the differences are slight, but I don't even think I would want to speak their language, honestly.
Yeah, I understand. So I'm assuming the language then isn't English. Your
Sorry,
relationship, the relationship you guys have, you guys primarily speak in English.
Swahili and
Swahili,
English.
Swahili. Okay,
Yeah.
Swahili and English. Swahili,
Mhm.
English. Now, whenever you met this guy a couple years ago, had you ever had the chance to date maybe other Kenyans or Americans or Europeans? Had you had that opportunity while you were studying and living in Nairobi?
So in campus, I got a chance to date a Nigerian.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And
it went really quick. It vanished,
now,
which was a quick one.
yeah. So was it something like maybe like 3 months, 6 months, a year? Do you remember?
It was supposed to last for like 3 months, but we forced it to stretch up to around 8 to 9 months.
Oh, so you forced it to stretch for 8 to 9 months.
Yeah, we
Now,
tried.
so I have a few questions about this topic. So you were dating Nigerian. Obviously, you're married to a Kenyan. Is there, because again, I have, and like everyone else, we all have our own opinions about certain Nigerians, etc. What was the experience like? Was there a strong cultural difference between Nigerian men and Kenyan men, or just Nigerians in general? Can you kind of give our viewers, our fans, like the difference between the two, whether it's men dating or just their cultures?
So I would say, one, I had a very hard time like understanding his culture,
Okay.
like, and I wouldn't say I even understood his culture, what his
Mm-hmm.
culture was about. So I'm not sure if he tried to make it hard or it was hard, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And comparing the two, I feel like in my opinion, home is the best. It's so easy like to relate with, home.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't want to base it based on the country. I would love to base it on the individual, because I've had
Okay.
friends who also dated Nigerians and they are doing very great. I have
Yeah.
Nigerian friends. I understand them. I understand
Yeah.
now their culture. So I feel like
Okay.
he was just an individual who was not trying to make
Yeah.
me fit in. Yeah.
Okay. Understood. Understood.
Mhm.
Now, have you had the experience to meet men from Europe or America?
Yeah, but not date. I've not
Okay.
dated any.
How was that first? So I understand it wasn't dating, but how was that first impression? What do you think about Americans, and what do Kenyans think about Americans? Again, this
So
is a
I will
truthful place.
talk.
This is a safe place. This is a safe place. It's a truthful place. Just let me know.
So I will talk about like friends, having friends in general in the US, Europe, in those countries. So one thing that I had an issue with is actually being soft. You know, people from there are so soft spoken, very emotionally aware, like,
Okay.
and then back here, I
Okay.
don't know if it's because of their bringing, some things really don't move us, or maybe don't. bring out the emotion in us. So
Okay.
relating with those people was difficult, you know, relating with them. And now that I am a virtual assistant, now starting, because most of my clients are now from Europe, UK, USA, I had to undergo a lot of change. I had to
Okay.
learn how to be remorseful, how to soften my voice, how to take
Really?
it one step at a time.
Can you give an example? So like let's say you're in a situation with an American or European and you're in the exact same situation with a Kenyan, for instance. What would the difference be? How would you approach each of those people? Like what's the real difference? Give an example for us at home.
So let me give an example of like, so I will give an example of my first job. So in my first job, I was managing a team
Okay.
for a company.